Before we begin today, a brief content warning. Today we are going to be looking at episode 2 of Twin Peaks, which does feature depictions of domestic abuse. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Things Are Getting Strange, a Twin Peaks rewatch podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Kim.
And I have a little bit of news.
Oh yeah.
So, the X-Files reboot, as we know, is trundling along. And Ryan Coogler has been asked about a few bits about it. I mean, there's nothing concrete yet. And also, there's now question marks over Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny's involvement.
Okay.
So they might show up in some capacity. No one's sure what.
I think they hinted there may be a cameo.
Yeah. What's kind of interesting is most of the articles reinforce that there's no official word on this. It's got Chris Carter outed it on the podcast and Ryan Coogler just keeps confirming it, but no one involved in the studio has confirmed this is happening.
Ah, I see.
So everyone kind of knows it's happening, but there's no official announcement. There's no press release or anything yet.
Weird.
It's very odd. I don't know quite why we've got that happening. I've been playing Alan Wake 2 and Alan Wake 1, and it's one of those Twin Peaks games we kind of alluded to before.
Yeah, I will prior to us, because as you've previously alluded to, at some point we're going to talk about things inspired by Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
On this podcast. So I have agreed that before we get to that point, on the Adverse Camber 42 Twitch channel, my Twitch channel, I will do a full playthrough of the original Alan Wake. So I'll let you know when that's happening if you guys want to check it out too. But then at least Nick and I will be on the same page when we eventually get to discuss this.
Yes. And I can only imagine that that episode of Night Springs I did in Alan Wake 2 isn't going to have much bearing on what happens going forward. Because that was quite a surprise, that one.
It's not news, but I did find when I was looking at Twin Peaks pages on Blue Sky the other day, if you guys check out the Bookhouse Bytes on Blue Sky, that's Bytes like a computer byte, BYTE, there is a person or group of people who have been developing an 8-bit NIS-style game based on Twin Peaks. And there's a lot of the kind of screen caps and concept art on there. It's really, really cool.
That's pretty cool. Well, I'll have to, if that comes out in time, we can play that one.
Yeah.
But I suppose we should go to the Pacific Northwest as usual.
I suppose we should.
So, Zen and All the Skill to Catch a Killer, directed by David Lynch, written by Mark Frost and David Lynch, and first broadcast on the 19th of April 1990. This might be the last episode he directs for a while.
Okay.
So, I did 3 people this time, just because one of them is technically a guest star, and he crops up too often to leave him out.
Cool beans. Who we got?
So we got Dana Ashbrook, who is Bobby Briggs.
Okay.
His first film role is Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Perfect.
I know. Amazing, isn't it? Not done a lot of stuff we've seen. The other major thing is Firewalk With Me, which I'm surprised and shocked, you know. But also the 1996 version of The Outer Limits.
Okay, cool.
Richard Beymer is Benjamin Horne.
Okay, yeah.
Weirdly enough, he is not in Firewalk With Me. Like, him and Audrey are not in there. Donna is recast, and there's someone else who's missing as well. But basically everyone else is in there. But first credit going down is like, you just read down looking for things to recognise. So, West Side Story.
Who was he in West Side Story?
Tony.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, good grief.
I know. Like,
that's the original one, I presume.
Yeah, that's the original one, yep.
Yeah.
The 1950s, 60s, whenever it was. But yeah, it was a case of, he's what?
Romantic lead.
Yeah. But then, he has that, the track record of everyone who like was big at one point and then just sort of keeps on going. So the next thing I noted was Silent Night, Deadly Night 3.
Oh gosh, there's a 3.
There's a 3. My Girl 2.
What, sorry?
My Girl 2.
Oh, My Girl... What, there's a 2?
There is. I didn't know that existed. None of the original cast are in it. He was in an episode of From Man from Uncle. He was in 6 episodes of Murder, She Wrote. And he had a guest spot on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So the other guest star...
You missed one there? Relevant for this show.
Yeah?
Sanguinarium, the X-Files.
I did miss out there, yeah.
He's the baddie.
He was, of course, the baddie in Sanguinarium for the X-Files. How did I manage to just...
One of my most hated episodes.
Yeah. And yet, that's the one he's in. Oh, well. So, the guest star, and the one we're going to see a lot of, is Miguel Ferreira, who played Albert Rosenfeld.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Star Trek 3.
Was he?
He was. He was on the Excelsior bridge crew.
Okay, cool.
He's in RoboCop, which is more obvious.
He is, yep.
He's, of course, in Firewalk With Me. It's not that funny, but
I don't think you need to keep noting that one.
Hot Shots Part 2.
Okay.
Blank Check, which is the film I've for some reason watched. Mulan.
Oh, who does he voice?
Shan Yu.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then, again, he's been working for too long because he was in Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2.
Oh, dear.
And Beverly Hills Chihuahua 3.
Oh, dear, there's a 3.
Yeah, there's 3. Iron Man 3. Bit better.
Yep, that is.
He was in an episode of Third Rock from the Sun. He shows up in Adventure Time.
Oh, cool.
As Death.
That's also cool.
And another character I didn't recognise. And Halo 2.
Oh, neat. So, would you like to give us a synopsis of this episode?
Sure. So I will take this from the Twin Peaks wiki, because Wikipedia for some reason has a really awful summaries of the episodes. Zen or the skill to catch a killer. Jerry Horne, Ben Horne's brother, arrives home from Paris and is informed about Laura's murder and the Norwegian businessman leaving the hotel. He is disappointed, but Benjamin Horne tells him there is a new girl at One-Eyed Jack's, and that the brothers are first in line, so they take a boat to a casino across the Canadian border. Donna's parents go to bed, leaving her and James alone. Ben and Jerry arrive at... Ben and Jerry? What? Oh, I've never realised that one before.
No, me neither.
Ben and Jerry, the brothers, not the ice cream, arrive at One-Eyed Jack's and order drinks. They meet with the madam, Blackie, who introduces the girls of the brothel above the casino, and the Horne brothers toss a coin for the new girl. Ben wins, and Jerry has a drink with Blackie instead. Meanwhile, James insists to Donna that their relationship is not wrong, believing that they would have ended up together if Laura had not died, citing that he had feelings for her long before. Cooper returns to his room at the Great Northern Hotel and receives a phone call from Deputy Hawk, who tells him about what the Renette family told him, and the sighting of a one-armed man at the hospital. After he hangs up, Cooper is delivered a note that simply reads, Jack with one eye. Bobby might go to the woods to pick up a supply of cocaine from Leo. However, not all of the supply is there, and Leo is present along with a mysterious other man. They discuss some of this situation, and Leo states his suspicion that Shelley is cheating on him. Mike and Bobby flee from him and take off in their car. Ed enters his home with greasy hands and drips on Nadine's laid-out drape runners, accidentally spilling oil onto all of them, upsetting her to the point where she bends her exercise machine to point of malfunction. Cooper takes the... This episode's so weird. Cooper takes the Twin Peaks Sheriff Department into the woods and sets up a bottle 60 feet and 6 inches away from Lucy. Hawk questions why, but Truman does not know. Shelley is watching a TV showing a soap opera called Invitation to Love when there is a knock on her door. She is hesitant to let Bobby inside, as she's clearly been beaten by Leo. However, he insists and tells her that if Leo ever touches her again, he will kill him. Cooper tells the Twin Peaks Sheriff Department of a Tibetan method of deductive reasoning, which involves throwing stones at a bottle and seeing which ones hit the bottle and which one breaks the bottle. He does this for all names that are associated with J. This narrows down his suspicions to Leo Johnson and Lawrence Jacoby. Lawrence Jacoby hits the bottle, whereas Leo Johnson, he shatters the bottle. He's also informed that Jack with one eye is probably a reference to One-Eyed Jack. Audrey goes to Double R Diner, where she meets Donna, revealing the crush she has on Agent Cooper. She asks if Laura ever spoke of her father, and then begins to dance. Cooper and Truman examine a bloody rag found near the crime scene, while Albert Rosenfield, the criminal pathologist, arrives with his team. Immediately there is friction between Rosenfield and Truman due to the former's dissatisfaction with the small-town investigation abilities. Ed returns home, expecting the worst, and finds that Nadine is overjoyed with the grease on her cotton balls, thus creating the silent drape runner she'd been trying to achieve. Pete and Catherine discuss Agent Cooper's presence at their home earlier in the day, and when Catherine is briefly away, Pete slips to Josie a key to the safe containing the Mills ledger. Josie gets into the safe and finds there are 2 ledger books. Distressed Leland puts on a record and picks up a photo of Laura. He dances in circles with it, screaming until Sarah comes in distressed. She tries to take the picture from him and ends up breaking the frame. Leo smears his blood on the photograph. Cooper goes to bed and has a dream of the one-armed man who identifies himself as Mike, a long-haired man called Bob. Mike identifies Bob as his former partner and tells Cooper that they used to live in a convenience store above a gas station. One day Mike met God and decided to sever his connection to Bob by cutting off his own arm, which had a tattoo that tied him to Bob. Bob then speaks to Cooper, swearing that he will kill again. The dream continues with Cooper now appearing older, sat inside a red room with a little man in a red suit, and Laura Palmer sitting on a couch opposite him. The dwarf breaks the eerie silence by declaring, "Let's rock," and then makes a series of cryptic statements to Cooper. He then directs Cooper's attention to Laura, who he claims is actually his cousin, who just happens to look a lot like Laura Palmer. Cooper asks if she isn't Laura Palmer, to which she replies, "I feel like I know her, but sometimes my arms bend back." Music starts, and the little man begins dancing. As he does so, Laura whispers the name of her killer into Cooper's ear. He wakes and calls Sheriff Truman, telling him that he knows who killed Laura Palmer, but the information could wait till morning.
Thank you.
I was wondering how to do this, but I think we're going to have to start the ending, because it's like... So, if you've been following us along, we've kept on alluding to the Twin Peaks has a reputation of being like something, and it hasn't done it up until this point. And then this episode slams you into, this is what Twin Peaks is known for. This kind of weirdness.
Interestingly, when you read the old review from the Washington Post from when this episode came out, they commented that this is the polarizing episode, which will both alienate fans and draw in new ones.
Yes. So, for technical terms, the dream sequence at the end has a weird history in the series, which we'll get into a bit, because we've been alluding to this a bit as well, and it's to do with the pilot. Because I think we did say in the first episode that when the pilot went out, they had to tag an extra bit onto the end of it to make it to a feature film in case the series was never picked up. And what that consisted of is another encounter with the one-armed man at the hospital, and then an encounter with Bob, who turns out was the man who killed Laura Palmer. And then it cuts to the dream sequence in the Red Room at the end of this episode. Which is, if you're watching this for the first time, you notice that the sequences with Mike and Bob are actually really odd, given they're sort of framed against an existing scene, as it were. They're not done in a dream state. They're in a very obvious room somewhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't look quite right, and it's just because it's all been repurposed. And the other anecdote I want to put in quickly is the little man, the actor asked David Lynch at the time what the context for the scene was, and was really baffled when David Lynch said, there isn't one. And he said, what happens after the scene? And he said, it doesn't matter. And this really frustrated him until he watched it through and went, oh my God. Although, to be fair to him, for the pilot, sure, the context is completely missing.
Yeah.
In the actual episode, it's Cooper goes to sleep and sees this. I think also missing from this version is the indication of the time, because the pilot says this is 25 years later, and this one doesn't actually tell you specifically what time frame it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Red Room is one of the most referenced things for Twin Peaks ever.
Very iconic set with the red drapes and the zigzag patterned floor.
Yeah, and the statue of Venus...
Venus de Medici.
Venus de Medici, and 2 black sofas. It's one of these things where once you know where it comes from, you kind of keep spawning places. It's like things like Gravity Falls, very briefly. It's in Soul Eater reasonably repeatedly.
The Simpsons.
The Simpsons. In fact, I was going to say that it's, if you wondered why there's a gag in The Simpsons of Homer watching a horse under a traffic light dancing on TV, and him saying, I don't think I get Twin Peaks, this is veering towards it. The horse is coming, strangely enough, but we're getting towards it.
They also pretty much lampoon this entire scene in Who Shot Mr. Burns.
Yes, with Lisa's backward talking.
Yeah.
On that note, because we have watched a lot making of this and things, is the backward speech is done really oddly, because as you might imagine, the scene is filmed backwards, but the actors were given lines where each syllable was the reverse of what it should be, so it's just about comprehensible when you actually run it backwards. Because it doesn't sound quite right, but it is more or less explicable.
I have a little anecdote about that as well. It's Anderson who plays the man from The Other Place. They brought in voice coaches to teach him how to do the backwards speech, but then he revealed the fact that when he was in high school, they used to talk backwards like this as a kind of code in his class.
Oh, wow.
So David Lynch realised that he was actually far more advanced than the voice tutors, cancelled the voice tutors, and wrote more complicated dialogue for him to read in it.
Oh my God. It's curious that you've got Laura Palmer's actress and the man from The Place, because that's what he'll be referred to from now on, are the only ones who are doing it, because Dale Cooper isn't doing it. He's talking normally.
Yeah. I also think it's kind of interesting. We really should analyse each line of this so we remember when they come back, because it is, of course, clues to what's going to come.
Yes, I was saying. Well, we'll put some pins in that.
But you already mentioned the Venus de Medici is famously a statue that's often mistaken for the Venus de Milo. So in my head when I was watching this through, and even when we were watching it and you asked me if that was the Venus de Milo, it's kind of curious when one of the lines is, "This is my cousin, but doesn't she look exactly like Laura Palmer?"
That's a good
And you've
point.
got this famous statue that's mistaken for another famous statue in the background.
It's true.
Mm.
It's an interesting one because we'll go through the lines because it's like every part of this scene is so important going forward. At the same time, we're not given the critical line, which only Cooper hears.
And that's who killed Laura Palmer.
Yeah. Just for the record, there are a lot of episodes before the reveal of who killed Laura Palmer. I mean, technically the audience finds out before Dale Cooper does.
True, yep.
While Bob will take credit for it, it's more complicated than that, but we can get to that down the line.
It is kind of interesting as well that we finally do have Bob credited as Killer Bob.
Yes.
At the end. So it's like, well, that was quick. Off we go.
Well, I think also we sort of made the point, and I'm pretty sure they do it next episode, of why on earth are they called Mike and Bob, given you've got Mike and Bobby already in the series?
I thought that's kind of a curious parallel.
It is, but I think they make one reference to it later on, and that's it. So the clues as they were.
Okay, I've got the script from the original pilot, unfortunately, is what I've pulled up, so it's not exactly the same, I apologise. But I've got good news. The gum you like is going to come back in style.
Yes. There's two ways of looking at this. One, this was tagged on to the end of an episode that was already finished, and this comes right at the tail end of the pilot. So this wasn't meant to mean anything at all, really. But what the gum you like will come back in style. We don't even know what Dale Cooper's favourite gum is yet.
She's my cousin, but doesn't she look almost exactly like Laura Palmer?
We'll put a pin in that one. We can't talk about that one yet.
To which Cooper responds, but is it Laura Palmer? Are you Laura Palmer? To which the character who's only credited as woman in the script
interesting.
Says, I feel like I know her, but sometimes my arms bend back, which is one of the most mysterious sentences, I think, in this. And then the man from the other place, who in the original script, as you said, is credited as Little Man, is, she's filled with secrets. Where we're from, the birds sing a pretty song and there's always music in the air. And then the two of them get up and do that very famous kind of 1940s jazz dance.
Which is him. It's only him who does
Oh, is it just him?
It's just him.
She gets up as well.
She gets up, kisses Cooper, which most synopses leave out.
And whispers to him.
His ear, yeah.
But yeah, the birds sing a pretty song. There's always music in the air is our final clue.
Yep. Good luck trying to puzzle out what that means. Any of it.
And then, of course, before that, you get the slightly more nightmarish scene with Mike talking about cutting off his arm and Killer Bob talking about catching people in his death bag and threatening to kill again.
Yes, and it's almost blink and miss it, but the locket that James buried is in a pile of dirt, like the one in the train car surrounded by candles.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that what was in that?
That's what's in the Circle of Candles. That
yeah,
is
I saw the
locket.
Circle of Candles. I was trying to figure out what that was.
I think it's not focused on because the Jacoby thing happened instead, whereas the pilot, again, we'll get to this later, but in the pilot, it is, they find Bob in the basement of the hospital, with the locket on a pile of dirt like it was in the train car.
Okay.
Quite what that actually means is never clear.
But yeah, so those 4 lines are really the integral things we've got to keep in mind while watching the rest of the series, at least up until it's revealed who killed Laura Palmer.
Yes. And not the last time we're going to see a room with red drapes like this and cracked the black and white tiled floor.
Yeah. Interestingly, that design on the floor, I believe, is compared to a traditional design that you see on the floor of Masonic lodges.
That's interesting. That's probably very intentional as well.
Yeah, there is a particular kind of isometric pattern, apparently, called a mosaic floor that appears.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what it looks like, having never been inside a Masonic lodge, and they're not really publicised.
No.
But
I do wonder about, I think for now we have to call it the Red Room, because I don't think they've named it yet, but that's how it will be referred to quickly, is the Red Room. So we'll call it the Red Room for now.
Some of the things I read refer to it as a waiting room.
Yes.
But I guess that's also a fair analysis, given it's just a room with a couple of facing chairs.
Yeah. I do wonder how much of how it looks was very intentional and how much was we have basically no money. We're going to put together something that looks strange but doesn't cost very much. Because it's a very simple set to put together. But it's very effective. That's really kind of, as clear by the fact it's referenced everywhere. It's a haunting image.
It's so striking, especially with those kind of blood red curtains around it. It's like an unforgettable sequence, even though at this particular time it's more surreal and just kind of muddies the water more than it helps anything.
That's true. Well, it made me think a bit of the further in the Sinister films, which sometimes I think in like Sinister, Insidious
has the further, yeah.
Insidious has a further. It's like, I think in the third Insidious film and probably the fourth, the further is actually quite effective. In the first Insidious film, it feels like we're doing this as low budget as possible because it's basically just black void.
So, to explain to people who might not have seen it, the further is a bit like Limbo.
Yes.
It's kind of like a place where souls go after they die if they don't pass on.
Yeah.
And it's often portrayed as being very dark and kind of filled with smoke.
Yes. And I get to the point, there is an aesthetic to making a very minimalist thing be creepy. Insidious, I have never found creepy because I think it just shoots too hard and overshoots in some very strange ways. So it becomes kind of funnier than it should do.
I'll raise you Insidious 3, which I actually think is quite atmospheric and creepy.
Well, again, I think the further Insidious 3 works very well, but they've fine-tuned how it works by that point.
But yeah, a lot of people do find the Insidious films scary, so I wouldn't say point blank that they're not, but I would agree with you. I think even when you compare it to similar kind of popcorn horror films that came out around that time, like Sinister.
Yeah, it's kind of daft.
Yeah.
But I think it's curious, though, that Twin Peaks, because I don't think there's a lot on how they did it, but I would be surprised if it was not a budget-conscious, we have to put something here. And they managed... David Lynch, as an art degree, presumably has hit on an effective image to convey this other world, and it works despite the fact there's basically nothing to it.
Mm.
That's really cool. I like that. For continuity fans, the man from the other place is, of course, the same guy from Humbug in The X-Files.
Interestingly, I should probably note as well that Mike is the first person now who has said Firewalk with me.
Yes.
Because we've seen it written already.
We have seen it written. So actually, no, Cooper's the first one to say Firewalk with me then, because he read it out.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Okay, fair.
Reading what he's seen written. But the first person to expressively speak it is Mike in the dream sequence does say Firewalk with me.
He actually says the whole poem, which is interesting, because we haven't heard the rest of it. We've only heard the isolated line.
Through the darkness of futures past, the magician longs to see. One chance out between two worlds, fire walk with me. Though I should possibly also note as well that it does in the original script say chance. Some people read it and write it as chant.
Yes, it's. I think the ambiguity is probably not unintentional, because it's you could. I like the fact you could read it either way. And Mike does not have a transcript, as far as we're aware.
No.
Yeah, that's another big mystery thing that we don't know what any of that means yet. All we know is that Firewalk with Me is tied explicitly to the scene of Laura Palmer's death, given it was written in blood there. And in a meta sense, it's the title of the film, so it's got to be important.
It's one of the most memorable lines from Twin Peaks as well. It's something you often see in art of the series and stuff, is the phrase "Fire Walk with Me."
Yeah.
I mean, I know even like when we played Life is Strange over on my channel, you see that phrase a lot in the Life is Strange series, yes, including true. Chloe's license plate, I think, makes reference to it. Was.
I think it's one of those phrases that just is evocative and for no reason you could really pin down and you wouldn't know how to create it. Like that whole thing about Poe and Cellar Door.
Yes, the most beautiful phrase.
Yeah, but it's like Firewalk with Me isn't the most beautiful phrase. There's something very peculiar about it. Even though you could be really mundane and just say someone's done a fire walk and that's okay, sure, Mike. We can go and do that team building exercise with you.
We did a fire walk once.
We did do a fire walk. So yes, we've done that bit. Oh no, we doomed. One interesting point about this though is it's the increasing presence of Laura Palmer's actress in the series after being cast as a dead body.
Which isn't half bad given that her first appearance was very dead.
Yes, and here she is as herself, maybe. We don't know who this is. We know she looks exactly like Laura Palmer, much less dead. Do we have anything else for this scene, or should we get back to ostensibly the real world with the rest of it?
Well, as we previously mentioned, this scene is so iconic, so intrinsically Twin Peaks. But it's kind of the interesting tonal shift because we've had nothing to this level of surreality.
Yeah. I think, as I said at the top, it's like if you were waiting for why Twin Peaks has a reputation it does, this is the kickoff point.
I won't say it's the first surreal thing to happen, because in the lead up to this, we've had the Log Lady and Nadine.
Yes. Though Nadine is more bargain bin eccentric rather than
Nadine's
mysterious.
wonderful.
She is. Well, I'll get to it in a minute, because I was thinking... I was saying the other thing, though, before we get into the soap opera stuff, is Cooper's deductive reasoning.
Oh, his Tibetan Buddhism practices.
Yeah. And I think I said to you, and it's kind of frustrating watching the episodes in order like this, of the fact he would go and do this is so weird when he refuses to ask the Log Lady's log a question. It's like, this is the same kind of mysticism kind of thing.
Yeah, true.
I mean, you could make the argument that this is a thing he's well versed in, and talking to a log is a step too far, but yeah.
I suppose talking to an inanimate object is not an intrinsic Buddhist belief, as far as I'm aware.
No, probably not.
You've got more of a kind of shamanism sort of feel to something like that.
Yeah.
I also noticed as well the fact that the episode has the word Zen in it, but Zen is not Tibetan Buddhism.
No.
Cooper's interested in Tibetan Buddhism, not Zen Buddhism.
Yeah. I would say, conversely, though, it's like, when have you ever seen these episode titles before? Because no one refers to these things by episode.
True. I can never remember what the episodes are called. But at the same time, so Cooper's deductive... It's got quite a lot of steps, quite a lot more than you said in the start of this episode. So what we had was a milk bottle set up on a log at a certain distance. I think you said what it was.
60 feet and 6 inches.
60 feet and 6 inches. So we had that with Andy posted next to it to set the bottle back up if it falls over. Then we have on the other end a whiteboard set up that Lucy is making notes on, with Truman stood next to it just observing, I presume.
No, he's reading out the names.
Truman's reading out the names. Hawk is holding a bucket full of stones while wearing oven gloves.
Yep.
Because he's specifically told to put the oven gloves on.
Yep.
And so every time Truman says a name, Cooper speaks it to the rock and throws it to see what distance it comes to a bottle and specifically whether it hits or breaks the bottle.
Yes. And the most important too, because I think we have to take... I think it's the Doctor's wife is one of the ones listed, and that sort of that ricochets and hits Andy. It's like that's so far off bases to be irrelevant.
Yeah.
Do you think Norma or Shelley Johnson would have the same kind of effect?
Maybe by the degrees of separation, they're more connected to Leo, though.
I suppose you could call that, given, as I noted, Leo Johnson is the one who breaks the bottle, which is... it's kind of pointing in Leo's direction, given there's just an increasing pile of evidence of something going wrong.
But we also know that Dr. Jacoby has Laura's tapes.
Yes, and the necklace.
So that would explain why it also
struck.
indicates him.
Yeah, struck but did not break.
Which I would take as an indication, if we're going down this reasoning, that Jacoby's not the killer, but he knows something.
Yes. I have to sort of point out, I've found the scene is just so delightful, given that Coop immediately starts with a short history of Tibet. And it's
with a map.
And it's just like, you prepared all this and everything, and you're telling the Twin Peaks Show Department, who are fascinated, because later on Lucy's reading a book on Tibet, and it's sort of just... Again, it's the intricity of David Lynch in this series. It's just so incredible.
I did hear a little anecdote about David Lynch, which I will share now just because I'll forget it otherwise. In the, when Jerry Horne is introduced, he quotes The Shining, all work and no play.
Yes.
David Lynch is a really huge fan of Kubrick, hence the inclusion of that line.
Okay.
But he also was pleased to discover after airing this that Kubrick is also a huge fan of him. Because Kubrick actually screened Eraserhead to the cast and crew of The Shining while they were filming it.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's very interesting. I would say we can... the good lead into Jerry Horne's arrival, because I think you made a comment of David Lynch getting too close to the camera, which is a... shorthand we've adopted of when things just get really weird out of the blue. I did forget in David Lynch's filmography, of course, is the infamous PlayStation 2 advert, which was him.
Which was his?
Welcome to the Third Place.
Oh, was that him?
That's David Lynch that actually produced that, so it explains an awful lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, David Lynch getting too close to the camera is our shorthand for if something suddenly and unexplained and very surreal appears, particularly in a David Lynch orientated series. Yeah.
But then again, I think at the bit at the start of the episode, because it's not in a synopsis, obviously, because it's really... there's nothing to say, but it's a very long-held shot of the family having dinner.
Exactly 60 seconds.
Okay.
It feels a lot longer,
It
but
does.
it's a full minute just of people eating their dinner.
And I want to sort of say, I don't know if so much it's David Lynch getting too close to the camera as Hideaki Anno. And for those of you who don't know who that is, this is the director of Neon Genesis Evangelion.
And also Shin Gojira.
And Shin Gojira. He's done a few other things, but he's most famous for Evangelion. Infamously enough, the anime had budget problems as it got into the second half, because every series he ever worked on had budget problems. Some of them are just hysterical to watch. But there's an infamous shot of a minute straight of two protagonists standing in an elevator not speaking to each other. And it's exactly the kind of thing they do here. But we've got Jerry Horne, another member of the family.
Very different to Ben Horne as well.
It's the very much a TV brother of that you two aren't related. It made me think a bit of the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes, where they tried to pass off Stephen Fry as Robert Downey Jr.'s brother, and it's like, good God! No! You two are not even in the same genetic pool! Such a bizarre thing to try and justify, but because sometimes you get brother casting or sort of family casting that actually makes sense, but not on that one. But yeah, they're totally very different, and I've seen there's an anecdote, I think, from Benjamin Horne's actor of when he brings in the baguettes with the brie, and it's like David Lynch sort of making him just do it over and over again to get this sort of perfect...
The best sandwich he's ever tasted.
The best sandwich he's ever tasted, but to get that perfect bit where they're just talking with their mouths full, and it's...
I love the fact that in that one simple gesture, you can understand why Mrs. Horne has such an obvious distaste for Jerry.
Yes.
When he barges in on their awkward family meal and immediately gives Ben a different meal, which he starts eating and leaves the table with.
Yep. Oh, it's, the whole load of family drama, very, very elegantly demonstrated. And we get something we're gonna, if you've been paying attention, is a interesting clue. I think it's possible to miss it if you're not paying attention to what's being said about Ronette. Which is the whole thing about the perfume department of a department store and how the new girl at One Eye Jacks came from there.
Which I think we can start to connect some dots with things like the classified ad now.
Yes. And Ronette specifically did have a part-time job at the perfume department of somewhere. We're setting up something, and it's a brothel. I don't think we can show it either way. There's a brothel and casino over the Canadian border.
I'm not sure it's common knowledge that it is a brothel, though, given that when Truman mentions it later, he only says it's a casino.
Yeah, I don't think they know about that part.
However, when they parade down all these girls in their corsets, it's quite blatant without saying it what's going on there.
Well, I think even saying there's a new girl at the One Eye Jacks is, I think Jerry says, "Oh, we're not going to go into the casino first, are we?" And it's, I came here to take off my shirt, not lose it.
Yeah. I love the awkwardness of that scene as well. It's particular when the new girl enters and she kind of doesn't know what to do with her hands.
Yeah, it's well directed and acted. It's one of those, you hope she knew what she's signing up for, but at the same time, since she's the new girl, presumably this is the first time she's had to do this, so she doesn't know anything.
I also thought that scene also helped illustrate the difference between the two brothers quite nicely, because you have, I think it's Sonnet 18.
Yes.
Ben Horne starts reciting to Blackie, and just Jerry is completely impatient, doesn't get the kind of seductive niceties, and just kind of bluntly interrupts this.
Where's the new girl?
Yeah.
I would wonder how Canadians found this series, given that you've implied that just across the US border, prostitution is fine.
Do what you want there, apparently.
Yeah, it's one of those. Is Canada like lawless wasteland? I'm pretty sure they have similar laws, but I haven't looked into it too much, but it was just kind of a weird thing.
It feels like something you need to research now.
Well, yeah, maybe. But we're getting, again, this is also, though, I think part of the murky depths that Twin Peaks is famous for. Because there is the undercurrent of sexual exploitation and everything, which, as you said, Fleshworld did kind of point to in the very pilot, but we haven't seen anything of it, and now it's resurfacing again. And something underwater has been happening underneath everything else in Twin Peaks, and Ben Horne does seem to be tied up with most of it. And I suppose we could talk about the Mike and Bobby meet Leo in the woods, because there's a weird question mark over that scene. So we know, I think we either know full well, or you can put it together really quickly, that Mike and Bobby are selling cocaine to people. Laura is holding money for them in various cases. And it turns out Leo is a supplier. Oh, no, actually, the second episode, they talk about the money meant for Leo. So, yeah, it's all very obvious how this drug operation works.
Yeah.
Leo's a trucker. Obviously, he can ferry things back and forth relatively unscrutinized.
And Mike and Bobby are just our local dealers.
Yeah. What's kind of more mysterious is that there's another party that Mike and Bobby aren't aware of who is with Leo out in those woods.
Who we just see briefly in the distance as a tall man wearing a ski mask before Leo kind of diverts attention away from him.
Yeah, and it's a great bit of mystery. I mean, I think that seems really kind of is creepy anyway, because I don't know, the woods at night inherently freaks me out. Like, the X-Files was great for this kind of thing.
Well, it's the woods at night, it's creepy, and we know that Leo is crazy.
Yes. I did think as well, watching it, is that it's hard to get past the fact that Leo isn't very good at this. But Bobby and Mike are I think in terms of wrestling, because unfortunately I've seen people talk about wrestling, so I know this it goes. It's like there's a concept of selling and no selling.
Okay.
So selling is when you sort of react to another wrestler's attack on you.
Okay.
Like if they hit, if he gets hit with a chair and you sort of go flail backwards and sort of collapse to the floor and everything.
So it's like this stage stuff like we see in the movie The Wrestler.
Yes. And no selling is a more complicated thing of you basically barely react. And there's some kind of weird politic thing caught up with that, because sometimes they're meant to no sell things. And sometimes the wrestler just isn't adhering to the script properly, or they're doing what the script says, but not making it look right.
I see.
But the point of all this is that Mike and Bobby are absolutely selling Leo's threat. Leo isn't actually doing it himself.
I don't know what it is about Leo's actor, and I don't want to be too harsh on him. But at the same time, Leo, I think, is threatening just because we see the aftermath, like Shelley with a bruised face.
Yeah.
Like we said last time, that sequence, even though you don't see it on camera, where Leo attacks her, is one of the nastiest things that happens in Twin Peaks.
Yes.
But at the same time, whenever you see Leo actually threatening people, I think it's because he's not especially big or imposing or anything like that. He just doesn't carry this level of threat. I'd compare it to, I think we commented while we were watching it, imagine if this was Bryan Cranston in this role.
Yeah.
Because Bryan Cranston, when he's threatening as Walter White, is imposing.
Yes. I was wondering, I have a sneaky suspicion what the problem is it's Leo Johnson, or the actor, when he's sort of silently looking imposing in shadow, can actually has the right look for it. It's combining that with his speech is where the inflection falls over. I think as a visual, he's fine, but as a complete person, it doesn't work.
I once saw a criticism of the actor playing Leo, and you don't really buy him with that level of gravitas. He needs to be the violent potential killer of Laura Palmer at this point.
Yeah.
We can't rule out Leo at this precise time. Even though I feel we've made Leo a bit obvious from the word go, it's never the first obvious person.
That's fair. I mean, there is a lot of evidence pointing towards him, and everything is pointing in his direction, except the dream sequence isn't, which is interesting. Who else do we have?
Nadine.
Okay, we'll talk about Nadine.
She's finally perfected her silent drapery. She's going to be rich.
She's going to be rich. It's one of those. It's like, sure, why not? I don't know. She's such an absolutely bizarre character to have in a soap opera.
I like the fact that you get the impression that Ed's in the position of the audience because he never knows how to react to Nadine either.
Well, it's even when he comes back in after meeting Norma at the Double R Diner and he thinks he's in trouble. It's like, Ed, is that you? And it sounds vicious and attack worthy. And then
she runs in and hugs him.
Yeah. And he's just does not know which way's up anymore.
But at the same time, you've got this valid reason to fear Nadine now because she does crush a metal rowing machine with her bare hands.
She's freakishly strong. But she's achieved her dream, the silent draper on that.
They're going to be rich.
She's going to be rich. I was thinking, I said to you at the time, it's like the Foley artist loves this scene because they just have to mute all the audio out of it. It's great.
I love her joy when she's demonstrating those.
Yeah.
Nadine's wonderful. Best character.
For other people we should probably touch on, I don't know if Donna and James is even worth dwelling on because it
isn't really advanced.
No, and it's real teen romance. And as you said, it's why is this here? Because it's the wrong age bracket for this, which is actually really odd inclusion. And they're really sickeningly saccharine kind of stuff at the moment.
I like the bit. the trusting nature of Donna's parents, where they will leave her alone in the living room when they go to bed with a boy of her age.
Yep.
But also the fact of they evidently have nothing to fear because these two people are sat 4 feet away from each other on the sofa, even though they're in a relationship.
Her dad is definitely aware that something could happen, given he keeps lingering. He doesn't want to leave them. He's lingering.
Mum's straight out of there.
Mum is straight out. That's the TV cliche, though, isn't it? I mean, the one I keep thinking of is Planetes.
Okay, the anime.
The anime. So, slight spoilers for Planetes, but the two main characters of Planetes do wind up together.
There's a surprise.
There's a surprise. But there's a bit in the end sequence when he's training to go off to Jupiter. Oh, it's set in space. It's a sci-fi future set thing where there's a mission to Jupiter. Anyway. The point is, she's talking to him over the video phone, and the father's like, he's kind of sort of craning his neck and everything, and the mother just grabs him by the ear and drags him away from it. There's this, the running theme in TV parents is the mother knows exactly what the situation is, and is going to give them the space. The father is doing like blockers.
Yeah.
Far more like blockers.
Yeah.
The
John Cena movie.
The John Cena comedy film where the whole objective is to stop their children losing their virginity. Donna and James aren't really very interesting. Let's go instead for Audrey, who is a 1950s femme fatale down to her high heels. She has the look.
You've also got to assume she's the one who left the note for Cooper, because we know at the very least it's got perfume on it because he sniffs it.
Yes. Donna is visually arresting, although you pointed out there's that slight issue where her look isn't differentiated enough from Donna for her own good. They're
I don't
too
know if
similar.
it's just white girl blindness for me, but sometimes I get the two characters mixed up. But they do have a very similar kind of build and hairstyle.
Yeah, and that might just be the casting process has given them to like that. But we can safely say that while Donna is going down a very typical teen romance slush with James, Audrey is a very unique presence in this series.
She just feels like she's either perpetually aroused or perpetually high as a kite.
And I'm going to go with she's probably both.
Particularly that scene in the Double R diner where she just turns on the jukebox and starts dancing.
Well, I think even better than that, she's broken the fourth wall, given she's put on the series' ambient music, or background music. She's found that in the jukebox. Angelo Badalamenti, let's put this one on. Can you even find the track name if you want? We know what the track is called. I mean, it works for the scene. It's like, it's the 50s collides with film noir stuff. And she just has that look. It's quite amazing, really.
Yeah.
And we have a thread that we're going to pay attention to, which is that Audrey definitely has an interest in Dale Cooper that's kind of advanced from the brief affections they showed. I'll break there because one thing is that the timeline of the series is actually really confusing now.
Especially when Pete mentions the fact that the fish in the percolator happened that same day.
Yeah.
Which means we've somehow had a full day-night cycle within the course of this day.
Yeah, because Ben, Horne and Jerry have gone up at night to the One-Eyed Jacks. And I can't remember quite what scene comes in between them and you go, wait, what? What day is this?
Yeah, I think we might have just got our day-night cycle slightly wrong there.
Yeah. So one big thing about this episode, and it won't feel big, but we need to highlight them, is Albert has arrived. He's not even really important, he just is kind of a fundamental building block of Twin Peaks. It's odd. But here we have Cooper's dark opposite, almost. This is someone who has absolutely no time for the small town way of life, has no patience, and is basically aggressively annoying everyone around him.
It's kind of interesting, given that Cooper is so likeable, that Cooper holds Alfred in so high regard in this way. Cooper adores him.
Yeah. We have Albert, who apparently is really good at his job and is not very receptive to, like, the autopsy that's already been performed. And we know that Laura Palmer's being buried tomorrow, though, as with the other toys at the timeline, when tomorrow will fall is another matter.
I will note, though, as well, I kind of like the way that Truman puts Albert back in his box, as entertaining as the Albert scene is.
Yeah.
Because it shows that Albert does respond to authority.
Yes, he doesn't fight back at that point.
Because the second that Truman stands up to him, Albert just backs away and leaves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. He's probably not used to that kind of pushback from the Hicks, as it were.
It's possibly testing the water as well, that Albert will behave that way if he can get away with it.
Yeah. very bully mentality. And at the same point, as you said, it's like, Cooper, why do you consider this man your friend? He's
It's the way
like
Cooper
you.
grins through the scene. He just loves Albert.
Do we have anyone else in this
there's
episode?
one thing I just want to note, so it's on the radar for later.
Cool.
Is the brief scene with Pete, Catherine, and Josie.
Oh, of course. Yeah, so this is the other actual soap opera plot.
So it's what's going on with Catherine's attempt to take over and sell the mill.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with financial crime or how any of kind of soap opera plotlines or even thriller plotlines go with this, if you have two sets of books, it means you are lying to someone via some method. Usually it's to hide the money you have and presenting it as you having less. Is the usual way of it.
Yes, the way of doing it is you keep a separate set of books, which are the public books that show that you're not doing well.
Yeah.
Because you're hiding the profits.
Yes.
So it's a form of kind of embezzlement.
Yeah. These days, it's more likely to be computerized, and it becomes more complicated because of that.
But of course, we were in the kind of pre-computer era here. Especially as Twin Peaks seems to be stuck in the 1950s.
It's an ambiguous time period over there. God, when they get cell phones, it's going to blow their minds. But yeah, that's our actual soap opera thing. And there's a lot about Pete and Catherine's relationship, which is kind of curious. And also kind of the whole, whoa, dude, this is your married life?
I get the impression it's one of these kind of particularly American things where a couple has grown to hate each other, but they can't get divorced.
Yeah, there's some complicated... I think, presumably, the mill's got to be on Pete's side or something, so she can't divorce him or she'll lose it. It's how I'm going to read it, I think.
Yeah, because the two of them quite evidently don't get on. They're not even friends. They sleep in separate rooms.
And Pete is more than happy to go behind his wife's back to give Josie access to the financials, which Catherine's been hiding.
Mm. But it feels like one of these things as well where Pete won't openly betray his wife, but he will facilitate Josie doing so.
Yeah. It's so odd, isn't it? The fact that we've got these are regular soap opera plots in between the Red Room.
You've also got Invitation to Love brought in here now, our soap opera within a soap opera.
Yeah, and it's one of these things where you might think it's really odd to highlight this if you're not familiar with Twin Peaks, and it's it won't last long, but Invitation to Love is very much intrinsic to the more modern theories about what Twin Peaks was meant to be, and that we'll go into more of that later, but it's meant to be like Night Springs, even in Alan Wake. It's meant to be the sort of juxtaposition, contrast, and commentary on what's happening in the current events. So far, we've only had the title sequence, so we don't know anything more than that. But yeah, Invitation to Love is... I don't know, I think it's Twin Peaks... It's kind of plotlines that Twin Peaks could have, but then sort of put to the absolute nth degree, like a kind of spoof of a soap opera even.
It'll be interesting to look at it in parallel when we start getting the proper little snippets of Invitation to Love.
I suppose we've just got Bobby's bloody revenge on Leo, which, good on you, Bobby. I mean, you still seem to be a complete jerk, but anyway.
About time if anyone can get bloody revenge on Leo, to be honest. True. I'd like Shelley to get bloody revenge on Leo more than anything.
Yes. In the 1990s, debatable how well that would go.
Especially as she's very much portrayed as being the battered lover.
Yeah.
She is in this situation now and that's it.
Yeah, she doesn't see a way out. I think we've covered most of the characters for this time. A lot of it is... The Red Room kind of tends to overwhelm the rest of the episode, but everyone else is started going through their plot lines and things are moving.
I guess the only other one you haven't touched upon is the Palmers, and the fact that while it initially seemed to be Mrs. Palmer that was coping the worst, that Leland Palmer is also starting to break down now. Because there's that horrible, just heart-wrenching sequence where he breaks down and dances with the portrait of Laura.
Yeah. The Palmer household is not doing well. I mean, I made that point in the first episode that, like, her death was a psychic wound on the community. It's like, everyone else does seem to be healing, but the epicenter, the Palmer household, is still not there, and possibly won't be for a long time.
It's a great way to keep reminding you of the fact that Laura is actually dead as well, because of course, as a dead person, she's not a constant present on the series anymore, but you can see the kind of echo of this through the fact that essentially the Palmers are destroyed.
Yeah, that's kind of borne out by how Jerry reacts, because Ben Horne tells him two things. One is, Leland's daughter was killed. Second is, the Norwegians have left.
Yeah.
And Jerry responds with, the Norwegians left? And they go to a great big conversation. And then it's like, oh, and Leland's daughter was killed. It's like that. illustrative of the character, but then illustrative of how they intended the series to go, but then also how the town has had to move on because they've done the sobbing and everything.
Well, it's echoes real life as well as, again, you're in the degrees of Kevin Bacon, is the further you are from Laura Palmer, the faster you'll bounce back.
Yeah.
For her parents, Laura is their world.
Yeah.
And they've been ripped apart. They may well never recover well, they won't fully recover to the full capacity, but they may well never recover at all from this.
Yes.
Again, it's a soap opera. You need that kind of drama ongoing. It can't just all be Cooper.
As much as we want to just watch wall-to-wall Cooper, it is very much an ensemble cast, so everyone has to have their little turn. So do we have much else for this one?
No, I think I've exhausted all my plot threads now.
I mean, some of it's just the whole, we've got the Red Room. It's hard to get past the Red Room. As
we got Albert too.
We got Albert as well. So, next time, rest in pain.
And it also should be when we discover who Laura Palmer's killer is. Cooper said so.
He did, didn't he? It was like, what a promise. It's that. I mean, I think we'll have to discuss it more next time, but so much of it is the kind of like, I could see David Lynch saying, we'll do it in this episode because we don't care about who killed Laura Palmer, we're investigating everyone else.
At the same time, I love it for the soap opera hook, because it's like in a horror movie saying, I'll be right back, is if anyone says, I know something, meet me in this place and I will tell you, they are never going to make it to that place.
Exactly.
It's the movie code for someone will do me in before I can possibly tell you.
I know, that's just made me think, these days, you'd actually possibly accept that maybe Carl McLachlan is going to die here. Because I was just thinking in terms of Angel of all things. I can't remember his name, but the guy who has the visions... Doyle.
He's in like 6 episodes or something.
Yeah, something like 6 episodes, and then dies off, and it's like, there's complete shock. And it's like Cordelia takes his position. But these days, it's not beyond possibility Carl McLachlan's about to just exit the series, so he can't tell anyone.
Yeah.
And weirdly, no, Carl McLachlan is the mainstay of the entirety of Twin Peaks. That's not how they're going to get around this problem.
Got to end it on a cliffhanger.
We can't give you that answer yet. So that's next time. If you would like to get hold of us, though, our email address is thingsgettingstrange42@gmail.com.
Also, please do hook me up on social media if you'd like me to present anything at the start of this show, especially if it is X-Files, Twin Peaks, or Garth Marenghi's Dark Place based, because that's what we've currently looked at. I'm looking at things like interesting art you're working on, video games like the Bookhouse Bites, like we mentioned earlier, conventions, whatever you got on the go. You can find us on Blue Sky or Tumblr at GetStrange42, and on Facebook by searching for Things Are Getting Strange, a Twin Peaks Rewatch podcast. Additionally, if you're not sick of my voice right now, as I've already indicated, I stream live on Twitch TV under the name AdverseCamber42, Mondays and Wednesdays at 8pm GMT and Saturdays at 5pm GMT, where I'm currently playing Black Myth Wukong, Slay the Princess, The Pristine Cut, and The Wolf Among Us.
Our theme music is a vision by Kevin MacLeod. You can find it on Compotech.com, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. Thank you all for listening, and until next time, please remember...
The gum you like will come back in style.